Okay, so I've started the recording and I'll turn it over to Wayne Gosnell, our first speaker. Wayne, you can go ahead and share your screen when you're ready.
Okay, let's see if now this is the first time Wayne has ever shared his screen, so we'll see if this works. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're muted. I'll say yes for them.
Okay. Basically, Cindy asked me to talk a little bit tonight about how to start a Friends of the Night Sky advocacy group. I sort of feel like I'm speaking to the choir in this August gathering that we have here tonight. But what I've put together is basically the way that we have done it here in the Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky. Blanco County is a little county out west of Austin, north of San Antonio. There's many ways to do this. Nobody has a monopoly on good ideas. So what follows here is simply the way that we did it, and it seems to be working. At least it's working for us. And so there's a caveat: no one size fits all. The important thing is that the best organization you can have is the one that you can get started when you have enthusiasm, because it takes people to make these night sky groups work. What the typical scenario is that you'll get one or two people in a community, and it could be astronomers like a lot of you guys and gals, or it could just be folks like me that enjoy the night sky. But there's some people that say, hey, we need to protect this night sky. It's worth protecting. So what do we do? Well, we visit among ourselves and gripe a little bit, and maybe we write a letter to the editor or two, and the results is not much. At least that was our experience here in Blanco. So what do? Well, you're going to organize. And there's the Margaret Mead quote. Everyone has seen that. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. And indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So good old Margaret, and she was right on with it. And so on the right screen there is organizational versus individual action. Obviously, if you're talking to your city council or your state representatives as an organization, you have a lot more authority than if you're just talking as an individual. Once you have an organization up and running, it's amazing. People will come out of the woodwork and say, hey, what are you guys doing? Can I help? Can I join? And through that, you get a shared talent and resources. Nobody can do it all themselves. And there's all kinds of resources out there if we can encourage them to come on board and help us. Mutual support and encouragement. The first steps in starting this is between the ears. It's a mental and attitudinal reckoning with yourself. We have to take the optimistic long view, because this is not going to be solved. Light pollution abatement is not going to be solved tomorrow. You got to take the long view. You got to be patient. You got to have a thick skin and realize that somebody is going to rain on your parade. They're not going to think that what you're doing, that you think is the best thing in the world, it's not. Not only do I don't care about it, I think you're dead wrong. Got to have a thick skin on this. As we first get into this, there's a tendency for us to be perceived as a bunch of tree huggers, environmental wackos going out and doing this stuff. And the challenge is to change that perception from tree hugger to protector of the rural environment. Debbie, I defer to you, protector of the urban environment. Debbie has unique problems down there in Houston. You've got to develop your diplomatic skills. The key to this of building an organization is to build coalitions. And by George, you got to keep politics out of it. The minute that we say the Republicans do this, or the Democrats do that, or the Libertarians want this, we're dead. Of all the things that separate our society, and there's a bunch of them, as you well know, we should all be able to agree on protecting the night sky, because it covers all of us. The last thing there is to get smart. You can't go out and start a movement, start an organization, if you don't know what you're talking about. And there's a lot of stuff to get smart about night sky preservation. I tell people everything I know about this, I have learned from Cindy. You also have to phrase it in what's in it for me. In other words, ask the question about the audience that you're trying to influence or the people you're trying to attract to help you. Why should they care? What's in it for me? Different audiences will have different motivations. Different audiences will have different things that will click with them to say, oh yeah, I never thought about that. Or, oh yeah, I've got a problem. Maybe this could help me. And there's different motivations: health, environment, astronomy, all that stuff. Mysticism. Oh my goodness. We had a new member last week. I went up and I delivered one of our membership signs to him. They're way out in the country. Guy comes out of a young man, very well spoken, tattooed from head to toe. He had coins in his earlobes, and his earlobes are down to his jawbone. And he was talking about how he really likes the night sky. And then had I seen the holograms? I said, what do you mean hologram? Oh yeah, he said they project holograms over the Milky Way to make it artificially brighter. And if you look at it hard, it'll shift and you can tell it's up there. Okay, there's all kinds of people that are attracted to night sky preservation.
How'd you answer him?
I just said, well, that's really interesting. I didn't stick around very long. We were out in the, he's a nice guy and he had a nice dog. So, obviously different people have different motivations. Okay, so that's background. How did we do it here in Blanco County? Again, this is only the way we did it, not a prescription that it has to be done this way.
Yeah.
From here on out, I write these in as if I'm giving advice to somebody who is thinking about starting a night sky advocacy group. Number one, remember when I said you got to get smart? Well, translate that smartness into a PowerPoint presentation and a demonstration of good and bad outdoor lighting, a physical demonstration. If you don't have something like that, well, then you're just sort of talking in the breeze. And you're not making your points to everybody. What we did, we did all of that, and then we got booked at a community venue. When we did that, we announced that the presentation at that community venue, is a community center, was going to be of two parts. Why the night sky should be preserved, that comes from the presentation and stuff. And then after that, we're going to talk about forming an organization. And so we advertised that as the draw to this presentation. And we had about 30 or 40 people that showed up to that. We didn't have any press showed up, but we were sure to make a press release after that. I had people standing on the side to take photos of the presentation, and we got good press coverage out of that. Make the presentation. It was important in your initial presentation not to overwhelm the audience, because as you know, stuff can get really complicated, and part of it can get really technical, and you can really quickly lose an audience if you get bogged down in that stuff. So stay generic but focused, and the focus, of course, is always on protection of the night sky and light pollution abatement to bring it down. If you can be entertaining, that's good. An audience always like that. The important thing, though, is to be enthusiastic, because enthusiasm is catching. And then afterwards, we conducted that was good. What do you think about it? And had a general discussion about light pollution abatement and night sky preservation. We had a sign-up sheet. We said, okay, if anybody wants to know more, or if you'd be interested in having a meeting to talk about what we can do as a community, sign up here. And a bunch of people did. And then we publicized that. Of course, we had the press release. We publicized that. We sent emails out to everybody. We got all their emails. Then we encouraged those people who were obviously enthusiastic about this to talk to their friends about it. And so we had an organizational meeting. So what do you do at that meeting? Well, you just define the mission, define the mission statement. What is this organization all about? And we knocked something together, and we worked on that mission statement we worked under it for about 2 years, and only recently have we now refined that mission statement to something that we all agree with, that it really is our mission. I'll show it to you in a minute. Select a name for the group. It could be anything. these names, Blank County Friends of the Night Sky, that's a good name, but that's not the only name. Wimberley Valley has the Wimberley Valley Night Sky Community, I think. But you got to have a name of some sort for the organization, because you got to have a name to register yourself as a entity. Then, of course, elect officers. We kept it simple: president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. Boom, 4. Decide about the dues. You're going to have, what kind of dues, when you're going to collect them, how much you're going to be. And then the important thing is to brainstorm, because remember, these people have come to your organizational meeting because they caught your enthusiasm in that initial presentation. And so let them go. Let the ideas flow out in a free flow fashion. Have somebody to take notes so you don't lose anything. The icing on the cake now is, let's see, did I skip one? Yeah, here we go. The next step. You take it, you got a name now. So you're going to go to the county clerk's office and you're going to file, you're going to get a DBA, a doing business as. And you say, okay, we're going to do business as the X County Friends of the Night Sky. We're going to be a nonprofit educational group. There's a little form you fill out. Then you go on the IRS website and you get an EIN, an employer identification number. Neither of these things cost anything. And so you register, you fill out that form, you register as a nonprofit ID. Then you take both of those documents now, official documents that you got, you go to the bank and you open yourself a checking account, because you're going to have checks going in and checks going out. And then you take both of those documents again to the post office and get yourself a post office box, because you're going to have correspondence coming in, official or non-official. And of course, on both of the last two, you're going to get at least 2 signatures on that. Two has been enough for us. And then icing on the cake. You don't have to do this, but if you go to the State of Texas Office of the Secretary of State, you can register your organization as an unincorporated nonprofit organization. And so with all those steps, you can advertise yourself there on the screen as a registered nonprofit with both the county and the state. So then you become something. You're not just a group of citizens out there. You're a recognized nonprofit. Now, everyone says, okay, well, are you a 501c3? Well, not yet, but we're working on it, and that's good. It took us 2 years to come around to that. I'll talk about that here in a minute. If I'll talk about it right now. The 501c3, of course, you have to be get federally recognized. You got to go into the IRS. You got to fill out some forms. Once you become a 501c3, the donors to your organization can possibly write that off, of course, in their income taxes. It opens up grant opportunities, because a lot of grant organizations require that you be a 501c3, otherwise they won't talk to you. You can also register for Amazon Smile. Anybody going on to Amazon can register your organization to receive a little cut of whatever they spend at Amazon through a Smile. It's not much, but it's a little bit. And then finally, it adds to organizational legitimacy and credibility. Your 501c3, that means you have gone through that process to do that. The bad, yeah, it costs money and it's time consuming. It costs about $800 to do that. That's one reason we kicked it down the road for 2 years. We didn't have $800. One of our board members twisted the arm of a lawyer friend she had. He did all the paperwork for us pro bono, and we got our 501c3. The ugly, it's hard, and things that are hard are easy to kick down the road and procrastinate on. But hallelujah, we finally did it. And by George, within the first month, we got a $5,000 donation. And then you got to have a set of bylaws. That's one of the requirements to be a 501c3. And the bylaws should include a refined mission statement. We'll talk about that in a minute. We worked with a set of bylaws we just knocked together. It was a better than nothing set. We have just today, the board approved a refined set of bylaws, and we're very pleased with what we have now. We decided to write the set of bylaws as we actually do business today, instead of some esoteric thing that you got to make up. And we're very pleased with it. in that initial meeting or initial couple of meetings, we met every 2 weeks as we were getting this thing up and running. We got to decide on communication means. Do we have a website? Do we have a Facebook page? Do we have other kinds of social media? We have both of those. We do not yet have another kind of social media. There's a bunch of stuff out there we just don't have the expertise on. We're hunting for somebody, preferably a young person who understands this stuff, to get us active in other types of social media. Then an initial event. Okay, you've got all this stuff, you're recognized, you've got an organization, you've got a PowerPoint presentation. Well, let's do something with all this stuff. And so the idea is to have an initial event, simple to organize, very little logistics, one that you know is going to be a success because you want to get good publicity out of that event so that the community at large knows you've got a viable organization who is making real progress. And again, innovation is the key. And if you've got good people, especially on your board, those innovative ideas will come. Here's the mission statement that the Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky just did. And let me I'll just run over it. Our mission is to promote and encourage, okay? Promote and encourage. That means education. We're an educational organization. The preservation and protection. Preservation, let's hold what we have. Let's protect the night sky in Blanco County and beyond. And we stuck and beyond in because we do a lot of business with night sky groups that are starting up in other areas of the hill country and other areas of Texas and beyond in California. We're communicating with them to support businesses, communities, businesses, and organizations, good, within Blanco County. Our focus is on Blanco County to obtain and sustain. And then we said various night sky friendly designations. That could be an international dark sky community, a park, a neighborhood, whatever it is. There's a lot of them out there now, and there could be more in the future. So that leaves us open for expansion. To provide education and information, that's what we're all about, to citizens of Blanco County of all ages. All ages means old people like me down to elementary school kids. And we have outreaches to get that because the next generation is going to be key to all this stuff. To support long-term night sky preservation and light pollution abatement. Long-term, again, we're in this for the long term. We can solve this problem, but we're not going to solve it tomorrow. We're in it for the long term. That's our mission statement. Basic concepts. Every group officer that we have should be members of these organizations. Hill Country Alliance, absolutely. It's free, doesn't cost anything. A lot of information, a lot of shared expertise in their night sky team. Obviously, the International Dark Sky Association, everybody needs to be a dues-paying member of that, and hopefully will pay beyond that because they need the money. And then obviously we hook into the Texas chapter of IDA, which is what we're here now. Which is doing good work. Other essential contacts, Chamber of Commerce. That is our key ally in Blanco because once you get into the chamber and you convince the chamber board that night sky preservation is good for business, is good for night sky tourism, it's good for all around, then the chamber becomes your key ally. And when the city council says, well, chamber, what do you think of this? Then you've got somebody with credibility that's backing you up. The newspaper editor, obviously, because you're going to have letters to the editor, you're going to have articles. Our little paper sent a reporter out this week and they did a front page story on our little organization in this week's paper. So that's very, very important. Then the schools, our outreach, we have a outreach to the schools. We figure if we can get the kids involved in this and get it in their little heads that about what this is all about, they will educate their parents. That's what happened with the Don't Mess with Texas campaign. When we were all kids, it was the kids that got it, and then their parents came along, drugged by the kids. That's our supposition on that. Obviously, talk to the superintendents, the principals, the key teachers at the schools at all levels, science, English, and art teachers. Then let's get into politics. Obviously, your city politics, the county elected officials, the Texas state representative, absolutely key when it comes to getting legislation at the state level, and of course your state senators, because that legislation's got to clear both houses of the legislature. The city contacts, you can see that there, the mayor of the city council, city secretary. If you have a city administrator, absolutely key. Planning and zoning is good. The city utility department, when you're talking about city street lights, and when you're talking about city-owned lights on municipal buildings, on the city yard, etc., you're hand in glove with the city utility department. And finally, preservation commission members. One of the things we have here in Blanco, and it's a lot of cities have this, is some sort of historic preservation commission, usually concentrating on the historic district in the downtown. I'm the night sky advisor to our historic preservation commission. So whenever a new building comes into that area, or they want to redo something on that area, they have to run it by the historic preservation commission, and the lighting they run by me, and that's the way we have some influence over all of that. Other contacts, the electric utility co-op, PEC, we're very, very fortunate. The board a couple of years ago, thanks to Cindy and some other people, passed a resolution committing PEC to support the night sky. And they have one of their senior officials as their night sky guru, if you would. She's in charge of everything that relates to night sky and light pollution. You work with TxDOT because they put up street lights along Texas highways. Be aware of the 1999 Texas statute that basically requires that any construction in Texas that is built in whole or in part with public money has to be, their outdoor lighting has to be night sky friendly. I'm summarizing, but that's what it says. The Master Naturalist obviously is a very, we share a common goal in terms of preserving this portion of the environment. And then other civic organizations. These are organizations where you can get support, you can get political support, but mainly you can talk to them to use these organizations to get the message out to wider audiences. The keep whatever it is, your city beautiful, keep Blanco beautiful, keep whatever beautiful, is a key ally in all of this. Astronomical Partners. We could not do what we do without the cooperation of our amateur astronomical partners. You can see, we have several in the general area. We tend to work primarily with the Hill Country astronomers out of Fredericksburg, and they have been our absolute key partner. Anytime we do a star party, we bring them in, obviously, because it's a star party. They are the draw. And so what we used to run these in the state park about every 6 weeks. And particularly in the summer when the nights start getting shorter and the days start getting longer, we bring people in about sunset. Well, it's the sun's still up. You can't look at the night sky. So what will typically happen is I will start and give a night sky preservation presentation aimed mainly at children, at kids, because people bring their kids to these things in the state park. And then we follow that up with a member of the Hill Country astronomers, John Watson, doing a stellarium presentation. If you've never seen that, you astronomers, I'm sure, are familiar with it. It's a I forget. It shows the night sky, but it shows it on a flat screen. And you can project it up there. So what he does is project what the night sky is going to be that night up there on the screen, so that people know what they're going to go out in a little bit and actually look at in their telescopes. And then John takes that even further, and he'll say, okay, see that little fuzz there? People look at it and say, oh yeah, it's a fuzz. Well, he starts zooming in on that, and suddenly that fuzz there's some form to it. And then at some point it transforms into a Hubble telescope photograph, and you can see it's this beautiful nebula, and people go, it just blows them away. They go, ah, and so you got them. And then after John wraps that up, then by that time it's dark, and we go outside and we have the telescopes, and that formula has worked perfectly for us. As a new organization, you got to decide on dues. It's going to take money to run this outfit. So individual memberships or household memberships. If a man and a wife is there, do you require 2 memberships or just one for the household? Do you require a simple membership, X number of dollars for the year, or do you have a tiered membership? $20, $50, $100, however you do that. Then how long is that membership good for? Is it good for 12 months from whenever you get the check? Or is it due at one time during the year? We've opted for one time during the year, 1st of January. Keep it all simple. We do $20 a year, cheap. We figure anybody can afford that, although we will waive that $20 if somebody says, I really can't afford that, but I want to be a member. That's never happened, but we would do it. Anyone who renews in the last quarter of the year, we give them credit for the next year. And it seems to work. Logo, got to have a logo for your organization. Every organization needs a logo. That's ours. The decision is, do you want to leverage other organizations or do you want to be unique? Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky, we will change that logo to fit any other group that wants to use our logo. And Comal County, West Texas, there's a couple of others that have done that. But you don't have to do that. You can see Kerr County, Wimberley Valley, Travis County, they've decided to go with their own unique logos, and that's okay. It's whatever fits your organization. But whatever it is, you got to build a brand. You got to use that logo to get it out there. And we use that logo everywhere we go. You can see my background here on Zoom is the logo. We use it on our correspondence. We have these membership signs made. They're 12 by 15 metal, sturdy metal membership signs. They have reflective surface. We sell those for basically our cost, which is $30 over and above the $20 membership. We have name tags. Again, looking at the logo, we have these polo shirts that we have on with the logo on it. We have business cards with the logo. Any advertising that we use the logo. Bottom line is, when people see that logo, it immediately, that's familiar. It's something that they have seen before, and it generates recognition. Communication is what we're all about. Web page, we have a web page. In fact, we look at our web page as our library. That is a whole bunch of resource material is up there, and we have a news feed on that web page. And it's incredible how many people actually tune into that. We got a report today. In the last month, we have 897 unique visitors a month to that webpage. I don't know who these people are, but somebody is finding that webpage to be very useful. The Facebook, we look at that as our newspaper because that's where we put out news about, basically not about us, but about what is happening with the night sky in general worldwide. And right now we have, we have 319 people 315 members of our Facebook page, making 567 post comments or reactions in the last month. So it's an active group. We try to convert those Facebook members into dues paying members where we can, and we've had moderate success with that. We do a newsletter out to our membership every month. If some member sitting out there, what's going on? I paid my $20. What's happening? Well, you got to let them know. You can't rely just on the newspaper because not everybody gets that newspaper. So we do a newsletter every month highlighting 2 or 3 important things that have happened in the previous month. Then, of course, you have letters to the editors, editorials, event publicity, all that kind of stuff with the newspapers. In our case, both in Blanco and in Johnson City. We use both of those newspapers. Events, you gotta analyze your audience and tailor whatever message you have to that particular audience in that particular event. A message at a Chamber of Commerce event would be very different from a message at a elementary school PTA. And that's the last one. The PowerPoint and the demonstration that you have needs to be tailorable to whatever audience you have. That PowerPoint, I keep coming back to that because that's our bread and butter. You got to be able to tell why the night sky is worth protecting, how it threatens, light pollution threatens it, and what can be done about it. And there's lots of presentations. We have one that we standardly use up on our website, but they're all over the place. Cindy has one, IDA has one, they're all over the place. The key is to get that presentation, modify it to your own needs, tailor it to your own own situation. We found that in addition to the PowerPoint presentation, because you'll lose a lot of people on PowerPoint, especially if it goes on and on, it helps a lot if you have a physical demonstration of good and bad lighting, actual physical lighting fixtures that you can show. This one's good and this one's bad, and physically show them what that is. I got all those ideas from Bill Wren at McDonald's. And it's even better if you can bring the audience up on stage. We did this with our high school last year, and audience participation, and let them be a part of it. Boy, did I skip something? I was it. Okay. One for all and all for one. Event partners, got to cooperate with the astronomy clubs, the Chamber of Commerce, Hill Country IDA. Then there's all kinds of solo events you can do. We had a booth at the county fair last year, won first place in the booth. We're going to be market days in Blanco is going to start up. We're going to have a booth out there where we're going to sell some of our stuff as a fundraising event. Okay, some ideas, things that we've done, things that we're thinking of doing. We had a night sky art contest in Johnson City and Blanco. We had over 60 art entries from junior high kids, some incredible, innovative, artistic entries. We were very, very pleased with it. We had an essay contest with at Blanco High School. That was a real success because the principal said, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, but none of my kids know anything about that. Well, do you think you could come and talk to our kids?" Whoa, boy. So yeah, so she gave us a whole Friday morning, and we took class by class, freshman, sophomore on up, and we gave them a 1 hour talk about night sky preservation, and it was a home run. I mean, by the end of that morning, we had talked to every kid in Blanco High School. We had a night sky song contest where we engaged some of the guys and gals that sit around the courthouse square on a Friday night and sing original songs. Incredible originality there. We ended up with 13 original songs. We put them on a CD that we called Deep in the Dark of Texas, Volume 1. And we were going to sell that as a major fundraising endeavor at the Kerrville Folk Festival. We got in bed with them, and they were saying, "Yeah, come on down." And then, of course, the virus hit, and that took that away from us. But if you like a Christmas present, give me a call. Then we're thinking about a night sky poetry contest. We've never done that. One of our members suggested it, and we're looking at it. Chamber of Commerce has mixers. We have booths at that there. No presentation, just an opportunity to pass out information as we did at the county fair. Programs and services, International Dark Sky Community Program. You guys know about all of that. That's the golden ring for a community of all of this. If you can convince the city council that it is in the best interest of the city to become a recognized international dark sky community, half the battle is won, because then everything else builds up to that. In Blanco, we have this Night Sky Friendly Business Recognition Program where we recognize businesses with good outdoor lighting, to recognize them and to encourage other businesses to bring their lighting, to make their lighting night sky friendly. So far, we've recognized 29 businesses. We have probably another 10 that we can tweak their lighting just a little bit and get them recognized, and then then it becomes more difficult. We're working with the Hill Country Alliance on a night sky friendly neighborhood program. That idea came from one of our members, and that is basically to work with developers. Get a developer before they start coming into your area. Talk to them about this. Get them to include in their development agreement and in their restrictions in their development that any lighting needs to be night sky friendly. You specify what that is. And if they do that, Hill Country Alliance gives them a good looking little sign and they come on board. We've approached 4 developers so far in Blanco County. 3 of them said, "Great, well, sign us up and we'll market ourselves as night sky friendly development." One of them said, "Go pound sand, we're not interested." So you do what you can do. We have an idea to work with a night sky friendly contractors program, so that mainly housing contractors, so that they will tell their clients what kind of outdoor lighting would be night sky friendly, so their clients make an informed decision on what kind of fixtures they have. Client will always rule, but at least their decision will be informed. That is on hold because we've run that idea by IDA in Tucson. They have a similar idea, and we don't want to do anything that contradicts them, so we're sort of on hold, waiting for them to get back to us. Then we do outdoor lightings and retrofits. Cindy put together an incredible lighting assessment training a few years ago. We've used that repeatedly, and we're using it right now, as a matter of fact. We got 2 of them going on. And then we're able to use a hotel occupancy tax funds. That's money that visitors to hotels and B&Bs pay. We got legislative approval to use a portion of that for nights to retrofit outdoor lighting. It's an experimental program, and we've refitted one of our motels. We have another one in progress, and we're going to take on the Best Western soon. Sky quality meters. We have a program using the handheld SQML. The SQML takes a reading of 10 degrees instead of 40 degrees like the old SQM did. We started those readings in 2007. The idea was if we're not able to measure the night sky, we will never know if we're making progress. And so we established a baseline in 2007, and now we have volunteers going out and doing those readings every 6 months. HCA is going to put permanent SQMs up. First one goes up the first one went up at Schreiner University in Kerrville. The next one is going to go up in Real Ale and then in Science Mill in Johnson City when the virus goes away. And then finally, today, we're considering a bulb exchange program with this new money that we got from this donation. We think that we're going to be able to buy some flat-bottomed LED bulbs and maybe some LED motion detector bulbs and actually do an exchange program with residences and businesses in Blanco and Johnson City. That's under development. And that's only a small list. Be innovative. Strategic challenges, and we're almost finished here. Focus on the long-term vision. We say that of all the forms of pollution that mankind has foisted on this earth, light pollution is the easiest to reverse and the cheapest. And we are able to do this in our own lifetime. This can be turned around before you and I are underground. We can do this. You got to prioritize your mission requirement. There's a little thing. We did this in the Army. When you're stomping on alligators, it's hard to remember the mission is to drain the swamp, because you can get so inundated with the minutia, some of it necessary minutia of doing all of this, that you forget what you're here for, and that is light pollution abatement. Got to always keep that in our mind. Anticipated complexities. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the more we get into this, the more sophisticated the organization becomes, the more challenges there are. We found that we could no longer manage all our stuff on a Excel spreadsheet, so we've gone to a database, and it's made a world of difference. The bylaws, just today, we've approved putting together a policy and procedures manual. That's really important because you got to plan for continuity. You got to have it write down somewhere what all these jobs are doing. And so that's what we do. Operational challenges, it takes money to do all of this. How are you going to earn it? Raise it. Dues, yeah. Donations, great. Grants, good deal if you're 501c3. And then sales, if you're producing something such as we've produced this CD, then you can sell it as a fundraiser. And there's probably other ideas too. Communication, absolutely essential to members, allies, stakeholders, and targeted public. Challenges, wow, it is easy to get burned out. You can get this can be a time sucker. You got to look at it. And you're dealing with volunteers, and volunteers are volunteers. You can't push them very hard. And they have come with various levels of expertise, energy, and enthusiasm. Right at as you initiate an organization, all those really high. And the challenge of the leaders to keep those high, but beware of burnout on individual members. Volunteers, we need to do a better job on volunteers, identifying them and then actually giving the volunteer a job that they can do and they want to do. that's more than just sending an email. I mean, it takes a lot of time to work with volunteers to develop them. And finally, continuity. At some point, somebody, life happens, and one of your key people may walk out the door. Sorry, I got to go take care of mom. Okay, what are you going to do? Well, you better have that job that key person did written down so that there's a job description that then you can get another volunteer to step in and do that. Provide for continuity. This is the last couple of slides. Additional resources, obviously, IDA, everyone knows how to get a hold of them. The Hill Country Alliance Night Sky team, absolutely invaluable. And of course, the Blanco County. Again, I don't know why 900 people a month go to our little website, but there must be something there because they're finding it useful. And that is it. Any more information, give me a holler and I'll be happy to reply. Question?
Wayne, thank you very much. Actually, we may hold questions because we have 9 minutes left.
Oh boy, I told you to cut me off.
It's okay. It was great. It was great. But I do want to let Cliff in here and let him share with us the information that he has, and then I've got a couple of things about Master Naturalist connection with the Friends of the Night Sky groups. Good. So Cliff, who is a program manager for Night Skies and Community with the Hill Country Alliance, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks. Hi, everybody, and thank you, Wayne, for that presentation. I'm just going to talk for a very, very few minutes about what we're doing at the Hill Country Alliance to help start friends groups. Sorry, it's a little bit noisy outside, obviously. I'm just going to talk for a minute or two about what we're doing to help start friends groups in the Hill Country. So we work in 17 counties. Let me back up. The Hill Country Alliance is a nonprofit. We work in 17 counties of the Texas Hill Country on all kinds of issues related to natural resource preservation in the context of all the growth in the region. But of course, I'm here to talk about our night skies work. So over the last, 2 years or so, as we've seen the Blanco County Friends group form, and then the Hays County Friends group form, and right around that time, also the Wimberley Valley Dark Sky Committee, all here within the Hill Country. We thought that it might be a replicable idea that could help move things forward in many Hill Country counties. And so since the beginning of this year, we've helped groups form in Kendall County and in Bandera County and in Kerr County and Travis County. There was already a group forming right around that time in the Canyon Lake area of Comal County. And I see Larry from that group's on the call, and I see some folks from several of the groups I just mentioned on the call as well. And so when we saw the Canyon Lake group forming in Comal County, we asked them if they'd be interested in expanding that to a Comal County-wide group, and they did so, and now that group is up and running. And our plan for the next year is to see if we can get another 6 or 7 counties on board. Like I said, we work in 17 counties, and so over the next 3 or 4 years, I'd like to see us get to all of those counties. And I know that there's some Bexar County people on this call that I've spotted, so I would love to be in touch with you. I'll put my information in the chat when I'm done talking. I'd love to be in touch with you about forming up a Bexar group. And I guess I'll just summarize some of what we do as we help these groups form. And really it's, everything, Wayne said that everything he knows about night sky preservation, he's learned from Cindy. Everything I know about forming one of these groups, I learned from Wayne. So really, I'll just summarize a few of the things that he mentioned. We kind of think of it, and I have all this actually in a single page PDF that that we can share out as well. I was thinking I might screen share that PDF, but maybe given time constraints, I'll just kind of give the highlights. Basically,
okay
we just think about it in.
If you want, it's okay if you want to share it, because my part is very, very short.
Okay, it'll just take a minute here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here we go. There's nothing fancy about this, and like I said, we can share this out after, but you can see we kind of have 3 phases. You all can see my screen, right? Is this working?
Yes.
Good. Awesome. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is very straightforward. It's the organizational stuff that Wayne was talking about. So first, register your group with the county. Now, I'll tell you, each county, what I've found through this process is that each county is a little bit different in terms of the forms that they offer and the ways that they'll allow you to register. And so, for instance, in Kerr County, that group has had a very hard time because Kerr County doesn't offer a nonprofit or association kind of registration through the county. So they've sort of skipped that step and are now looking more closely at just going straight to incorporation with the state as a nonprofit. But so that kind of formal incorporation or formalization of some kind, the logo, social media, start an email list for your group. You know, I think that it's handy to think about email lists in perhaps 3 concentric spheres. So the closest with the smallest list of people are those people who are, you know, who may be considered your board, or the people who are really active, who are coming to every meeting and doing the work and thinking about long-term objectives and so forth. Those are, you know, your core group of partners who are participating. That's your smallest email list. Then the next would be sort of your members, if you have membership, or in other words, your supporters in the community. You know, people who would like to know on a monthly basis what's going on. Whenever you have an event, people you want to let that be known to. And then the third would be sort of everyone who's at email list you've ever encountered, who you might email just once a quarter. And you'd, of course, always give them an option to take a pass. But, you know, that would be your contacts at the school district, your contacts at the chamber, if the chamber is standoffish on the issue. You know, people who you want to keep informed, but they're not looking to get, you know, an update every few weeks or every time you're having an event or something like that. And then in this phase 1, like Wayne said, you need to capitalize on the enthusiasm when you have it. So you need to start hearing right away, what do people want to do? Do people want to do a lot of outreach and education events? Are people excited about partnering with schools? Or do people want to work in the business community? Do people want to work for some sort of municipal policy like an ordinance or an IDA designation? But you need to hear that right away so that you can start working towards those goals while people are enthusiastic about it. Step 2, once you've done all of that sort of behind the scenes work of forming your organization, is to introduce yourself to all of the many sort of community leaders that Wayne identified in his presentation. You want to let them know about, you know, what the group is for and some upcoming stuff. The stuff I have here is really specific to the Hill Country. And what we're doing here in the Hill Country. And then phase 3 is sort of just the long term of pursuing those objectives and goals that were articulated at the beginning in phase 1. And obviously it's iterative and you want to go back and revisit those and see what makes sense. I'll stop sharing there and I'll just share a couple more thoughts. You know, Wayne kind of pointed to why form a group. I kind of articulate it in basically 3 words. You know, forming a group like the Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky or your local group brings legitimacy to the cause and to the people who are representing the cause. When you are in front of your city council or the Chamber of Commerce, brings added legitimacy. It brings visibility in the community. So that's everything that Wayne was talking about having a brand, so that when it's written up in the paper, it's not just, oh, and Wayne Gosnell gave a talk, but it's Wayne Gosnell of the Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky, and that will stick with people more than just Wayne's name. And then continuity, and he mentioned that as well, so that as people do take a step away from night sky preservation, as life gets in the way or people burn out, then you have an organization there to carry things forward. I'll say, you know, I do appreciate Wayne's approach to making sure that money is thought about right at the outset, because I think most organizations find or feel that they need money to operate and operate effectively, and that's often true. I find in helping grassroots organizations form on different issues, including night skies, that sometimes talking too much about money can just stress people out and make people lose track of why they enjoy participating in this group to begin with. So, you know, you kind of want to take that, you want to read the group and not stress the money stuff too much unless you see like a real immediate need. Or if people are open to it, then great, get all that lined up. And then I'll just say one more thing. Oh, I see somebody put in the chat here, what is HCA? It's the Hill Country Alliance. That's the nonprofit that I work for. The last thing here is, in terms of attracting and retaining volunteers, I have 2 tips for that. One is have a list of tasks that need to be done. And this is something that I've seen the Blanco County Friends do very well. You know, have a list of tasks that need to be done. So when somebody says, oh, I'd like to help your organization, how can I get involved? You already have 5 or 6 things, or 2 or 3 things even, that need to be done. And you can talk with them about which of those things are attractive to them. And then the other thing is to use committees. You know, not everybody wants to attend every board meeting and talk about, we're trying to open a bank account, or you know, other kind of high level organizational things. But if you have, oh, well, we have a outreach and education committee that just meets to talk about events in the community, that's something that more people can plug into. So, you know, don't require that anyone who wants to volunteer come to all of your organizational meetings. Create opportunities for them to be involved without doing that. And then sometimes it can be useful to kind of have a buddy. So if you have a new volunteer coming in and you have somebody who's been working with the organization for some time, you can pair them up so that the new person, you know, knows who to call if they want to get more involved or are unhappy about something or have a question. And it's not always coming back to you as the person who helped form the group in the first place, because that will become overwhelming for you. So, you know, with that, I'll finish there. So I'm also happy, of course, to answer questions, but like Cindy said, maybe you will hear from her and then we'll do that.
Yeah, thank you, Cliff. That was great. And I wanted to remind everybody that this is being recorded, and we'll put the link to it in one of our next emails from the chapter, so that you can go back and look at it, just like we taped the August and July programs. Okay, let me answer a question that I had been asked to deal with on this, and that is about the crossroads between Friends of the Night Sky groups and the Texas Master Naturalists. So I know that we have been sitting here a while, and I'm going to recommend for a second that everybody stand up if they'd like to, stretch, whatever they feel comfortable with, because I don't want you, you know, going, oh, please, let me get up a minute. Yes, I see that. That's good. And also, you can go down to your chat, because I'd like to see a yes or no if you know what Texas Master Naturalists are. Why? We know what Friends of the Night Sky would be, but what about Texas Master Naturalists? Just put the answers in the chat. Let's look at that real quickly and see what sort of answers we're getting there. Let me see if I can see it from here. I'm sharing my screen, so it's not letting me. But let me tell you a little bit about the Texas Master Naturalists. They are a group that is supported by the I'll do a Wayne on here, by the Texas A&M Extension Service and the Texas Parks and Wildlife. And their mission is to develop a core of well-informed volunteers who can provide education, outreach, and service dedicated to the beneficial management of natural resources and natural areas. So, wow, that seems like a really good fit with Friends of the Night Sky groups. And there are over 9,000 master naturalists in the state of Texas. Lots of volunteers there. So, so MMs, give us this well-trained, conservation-minded group. And they are also required to log volunteer hours to recertify every year. So the question is, how can we set up our Friends of the Night Sky group and our projects on Master Naturalist groups or chapters so that Master Naturalists can log hours doing certain things? So to understand that, we really need to understand the mission, because master naturalists have guidelines that say, for a project, for somebody to record hours on, it's got to fulfill the mission. I read y'all the mission about providing education, outreach, service, etc. So it's got to do that. It's got to be performed as a Texas master naturalist. So they can't say, oh, I am strictly, and I'll say Hays County Friends of the Night Sky. If I'm doing an outreach event, I can say I'm a member of both, and I can have on my name tag or 2 name tags, whatever, so that I identify myself as a Texas master naturalist. You've got to do that if you want to have the hours at a public event. At a private event, if you're at a board meeting, the rest of the group knows you're also, and you'll talk about it. Yeah, as a master naturalist, blah, blah, blah. So identify yourself. You can't double count hours. If the other organization, if your friends group decides they want to go for some grant where y'all have to track volunteer hours, you cannot do it with both organizations. And no other organization may profit from your master naturalist work. So if you are out selling things, if you are out doing something to raise money for a night sky, Friends of the Night Sky group, then you cannot count those volunteer hours. So that, that's just the way that is. And all volunteer work must be part of an approved project in that chapter. So let me show you how we do it in Hays County. And again, for anybody who's interested, because I know there are a couple of friends groups that were interested in how to pull in more master naturalists and let them record their volunteer hours. We define the project, this project 1108 is approved with Hays County chapter of Master Naturalists. So it's all about educating people. Look at that activity, educating people about what light pollution is, its negative effects. You can read that. It is all the things that the Friends of the Night Sky group wants to do. It's part of the mission. Look at the second activity in this project that's been approved by our chapter, coaching others so they can lead programs. So, and by participating in the Hays County Friends of the Night Sky, we specifically say we are going to work together. And we know we have to identify ourselves as not only Hays County Friends of the Night Sky, but as Hays County Master Naturalist. You have to, the other activity for this project, designing and recommending solutions for specific sites to reduce light pollution, and recognizing homes, businesses, and organizations with night sky friendly lighting, do things like the Be a Star Award and other similar award programs. That's our definition of the project. And that allows us to do things as long as we're not trying to make money for the Hays County Friends of the Night Sky. So that was it. Was that short enough? And like I said, if you let me know and that you want to get a copy of that with the specifics of how we define that project in Hays County, I'll be glad to send that to you. Okay, does that help? I'm gonna, let's feel free to take yourself off mute, and I know I'm fine to stay a little bit longer. Wayne and Cliff, can y'all, and we'll answer questions. You can, take yourself off mute and answer a question. If you're having trouble getting in, feel free to, to type it into the chat. I'll be watching that.
Maybe while people are thinking up their question, I remembered two more things that I wanted to say.
Go for it.
One, thank you. One is if you're in a big city like San Antonio or Houston or elsewhere, something that we've been finding has worked well in Austin is to identify a part of the town, a part of the city where you think that there might be some particular opportunity to do better when it comes to outdoor lighting. So in Austin, there's State Highway Loop 360, which is a very scenic highway and has a lot of open space on it. And a good portion of that open space is city owned. And it also has a couple little pocket municipalities that exist within the city of Austin on it. And so this kind of sparked the idea of, oh, well, we could maybe tie, it also has an IDA designated development of distinction in Lost Creek neighborhood. Is also right there on that highway. So this kind of sparked the idea of, well, we've got that IDA designated Lost Creek neighborhood, and we've got these little municipalities that are working on ordinances and could eventually become dark sky communities. And we've got all of these city owned places that could become urban night sky places or dark sky parks. Maybe we could make a dark sky corridor out of Loop 360. And that idea has allowed us to convene city agencies and county agencies, as well as neighbors and local institutions that are located there on Loop 360 to start talking about dark skies and focusing on that geography right there as sort of a pilot program for the city, as a way to say to TxDOT, hey, when it comes to this part of the city, we'd really like you to take some extra care, and to say to the city's transportation department, when it comes to this part of the city with street lighting, we'd really like you to take some extra care. Just doing that has actually brought in people from other parts of the city and helped the city think about dark skies more generally. And so even though we haven't yet achieved that corridor concept in terms of making that a reality, just that concept, just creating the concept and having those conversations has led to some really productive outcomes across the city and some interest with city officials and so forth. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. And then the other is by having a constellation of dark sky groups like the Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky and the Travis County Friends of the Night Sky and Kerr and so forth, it allows us then to coordinate those groups. And this is something that I really hope that the IDA Texas chapter can move towards. And I think that this conversation is a step towards that possibility of having lots of local groups that then we can say, okay, all together, let's do X with our local groups. And so, for instance, this October, we're launching the first annual Hill Country Night Sky Month, which is just an opportunity for all of the local groups and the volunteers in the counties where we don't have yet, formed groups, to do education and outreach events and promote policy improvements and promote visible lighting retrofit projects in public places, all as part of Hill Country Night Sky Month. And having these local Friends of the Night Sky groups in several Hill Country counties allows us to do that in a way that we wouldn't be able to do it otherwise. And so I think that that's maybe a vision for the Texas chapter of the IDA, as we can get more of these local groups, and then we can work in a coordinated way through our local groups. That's my piece. Thanks for listening, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I do have a question. So what we've run into is sometimes even if we get enthusiasm about lighting, we have institutions that fight back. So for instance, we presented to a very supportive council member, Centerpoint, some Centerpoint officials followed us over there, and she said, I would like to try a warm light in front of my house, may I? And they said, we won't allow you to do it. So we get pushback from major entities. I think we're having some success. I believe our Discovery Green Park has agreed to change some lighting, that actually our president of our society, we work with them with star parties. But we have very consistent and concerted pushback. And Centerpoint Energy says they will not put anything other than a white 4000K light anywhere in all of Houston because TxDOT does that. And I see at TxDOT has in 2014, they chose the 4000K, which is a high blue LED light. And I see it's reiterated in their December 2020 guidelines. They have a very narrow range of colors that they will allow for LED street lighting, even though it's pointed downward, and it's like from 3,800 to 4,200, something like that. And that's going to undermine all these these dark sky small cities when these freeways start filling up with white light. And we really need help with that. If you guys have TxDOT connections, I've tried writing contacts I've been given. I contacted the person within Houston responsible for freeways. She said, we have no control over that. TxDOT decides on the freeway lighting. And it's just been extremely difficult.
To add on what Debbie said, in that meeting with the councilman, the person from Centerpoint says we will not change the light fixtures going forward. So the city will have like two different versions, and then the city will be considered a haves and haves nots. So they don't want that. So they're putting in bad stuff everywhere.
Yeah, we were actually told that very early on. And of course, the cities that have changed do have haves and have-nots. Los Angeles, there are many cities that have done that. But the pushback from the major institutions advising the city has been tremendous in Houston. And sometimes I wonder if it's because we make our money selling energy and that there may be a business disincentive to do lighting well in Houston.
Houston, City of Houston and Greater Houston Partnership put on a climate week this week, and they had a transportation panel today with some groups that are working to improve transportation, and they might be amenable to working with you. And I was also going to suggest that if you could get, you may have already gotten your state rep or some state senators interested in the topic, and they could facilitate a channel to TxDOT.
Right, yeah, so I'm supporting we've actually talked to quite a few politicians about lighting, and both state and, or not, probably not enough of them, but definitely we've been thinking about talking to politicians. So there's one, I was just at a fundraiser for her who we have talked to and knows about the issue, who would be in this Texas state legislature if she wins. And we found out that Gene Wu, we approached him, who's in the he's a congressman, and he said he was aware of the dark sky issues and was supportive. Talked to Lizzie Fletcher, but as far as I know, nothing. I really need to learn these organizational things, because we've done a lot of talking to people, but as far as making things happen, it's been very difficult here. And then the other thing that I just wrote one of our more supportive people is the police chief, and he's the president of the Major Cities Chiefs Association. So I just tried writing the executive director there and copying him. They have, my gosh, there must be about 200 different cities under that umbrella. And if we could get the policemen, if we could get police doing lighting education, I do know that in Houston, it's all about safety and security, and people have this misperception that brighter is better, and it's very hard for amateur astronomers to be the ones telling them to do things differently if they don't think if they think the police are telling them the opposite.
As far as, I guess, resistance from, I think you said Centerpoint. I'm not familiar with who's doing the street lights in Houston. Is it a utility called Centerpoint?
Centerpoint, and it's not just Houston, it's the entire greater Houston area. So Jim King, who's on tonight, noticed them starting to appear in Full Shear, which has a dark sky ordinance.
So
but they will not budge.
So I guess my only thought, I guess my only thought there is and that's a private entity, or it's public?
Yeah, it's private. It's a private corporation.
So if they're a private corporation, it's going to, this is my 2 cents. And I know that there are several other people on this call who have as much experience and insight into this as I do. But my 2 cents is that if they're a private corporation of that size, it's going to be pretty hard to get them to move by yourself, and that you're probably better off working with the city on, requiring that Centerpoint use lighting with a better color temperature, and And to do that, I think an important step to have that kind of influence at council may be forming a group like the kinds that we're talking about today, for all the
Yeah, I
reasons that
do
we
like
discussed.
the idea of having a name for a group. We do have people who are outside of astronomy interested in this, but that alone might help. So that's one thing that may be what's lacking here in Houston. So thank you for that.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions over here. Larry Wells had asked about the charge for the 501c3, and I had found the same thing. I mean, we were looking into it, and it was only $275. Maybe that's because we had a lawyer who would do it free. Wayne, do you have additional things that you'd run into? Because we created a 501c3 for Texas Night Sky Festival Association, and that it was the $275.
That very well may be. I was told that it was going to cost about $800, and the next thing I was told was it was done.
Yeah.
I've got a great board.
Good. Yeah, I think that was probably normal lawyer's fees. Okay. Larry Wells has also said he'd like to know what ophthalmologists think about the effects of 4500K and plus lighting. He knows it bothers him. It bothers me too. Wayne noted that the American Medical Association has issued a report detailing the poor effects of lighting above 3000K on human health. I believe the Illuminating Engineering Society of now recognizes the fact that we need light in that has less blue in it to see better, and that has been shown in the latest RP report, which is the big book that they put out that says what the standards are for lighting. And we use that. I used that recently with a new school that's being built, and have gotten them to go to at least 2700 Kelvin. I would like to go to 2400. We've got on the IDA Texas Slack under, I think it's under, I don't know, resources or something, lighting. A great street and area light that you can get at 2000 or 2400 Kelvin. Okay, any other questions about forming these organizations or anything else you'd like to ask?
Can I just
thank y'all for hanging in here. We're running. Yeah.
On that AMA report, just as a side note, it was a Dr. Mario Mata who penned that, who is also a very accomplished astrophotographer. So he's posted a lot of stuff. So he's also familiar with the problem.
Could I just say, hi, Debbie Thompson here in Kerr County. We're a new group that Amy and Cliff have really helped a lot. And Wayne, your presentation today has been invaluable. These are so many things we've been struggling with, and you've just presented it right there and handed it right in our laps. So it's much appreciated.
So yay, Wayne. Give him a round of applause, everybody. Yes. A lot of muted applause. I love that.
Now this is not rocket science. It just takes some dedicated people to roll their sleeves up and get with it. And you guys are every one of you are doing great.
And I will note, I'm not on mute. I will note that Jim King in Fulshire didn't have a whole organization behind him, but did some great things in front of Fulshire City Council recently, and got some changes in what it looked like they were getting ready to do with some bad lighting. So congratulations, Jim.
Well, thank you. That whole thing had to do with LED lighting and signage. It was not street lights and that sort of thing. We don't have LED lights, light or signs in Fulshire right now, and there was a movement to get that approved. We went in first of last week, I guess. We had four councilmen voting for it, 3 against it. We had 4 people came up and spoke, of which I was one. The track that I took actually was how dangerous it is. I found a series of 21 reports, studies that had done across about, 12 different countries, every one of which said that the LED lights that come off the signs were extremely dangerous. One study out of Israel said that it increased the accidental rate in their major highways 50%. And they had the Israeli Supreme Court stopped a lot of that stuff. So it was a pretty good way to go after it. I agree. You got to find out what the button is and go after it that way. I pointed out the fact that the state of Texas has distracted driving laws, and all we were doing putting those lights up was adding a distraction. And a significant amount of distraction to boot. So it hit home, and when we got done, there were 5 votes against letting that lighting thing go through. Well, I think the final vote is this week. That was kind of a straw poll. So I don't know yet that it's law or not law, as the case may be, but got my fingers crossed that it will come to fruition.
And I think, Jim, you're going to add that to the IDA Texas Slack information under research.
Yeah, you asked me for a for a copy of the speech. Well, I was speaking extemporaneously from notes.
That's okay.
So I have had to try to go back and recreate that thing in my old gray memory. Sometimes I'm having to think of it day by day. What did I say? What did I say? So it's not going to be immediately that I can get that to you, but I will. And I've already dug back out all the research that I dug out on those 21 documents.
Yeah.
And they're powerful. They are absolutely powerful from that aspect of distracted driving.
If you can send me a folder with those documents, I can put links. I can put them in our IDA Dropbox and put a link in Slack to them so people can download them if they want to.
I will do that.
Okay, we can do that. We can get that research out there for people to see. Good. You guys have been a great group and have hung in there for an hour and a half. Y'all are wonderful. So, anything else? Don't want to cut anybody off if they want to ask something or?
Yes. I just want to let you know, I've been kind of cataloging. We have a lot of auto pedestrian accidents in Houston, also trying to go after the safety aspect. And I've started looking on Google Maps to see what the lighting is around there. And several of them have a couple of them are really striking. It's like a high glare LED light, pointed up 80 degrees straight at the driver. And these are cases where the driver's not ticketed, but one was a drunk driver. And Art Acevedo, the police chief, had the accident investigator call me because he saw the pictures we took of how dark it is right at a bus stop. And what's up? I'm losing my thread. But the point is that you can go on to Google Maps and see some of the lighting during the daytime, how it's aimed, and whether that might have been in line with the driver. We had one. We spoke to one civic club where we were invited there because the president had witnessed an auto pedestrian accident. He said the woman in the car was crying and said she didn't see the pedestrian, and he looked and saw that there was a white LED light in her eyes. So Jim King and Steve Goldberg are on here, created the single best visual I've seen that works every time, the 20-second disappearing pedestrian video, which is on our website. But I can put just that. I can put just that link on Slack for you. That in 20 seconds, I'll get people to stop putting the white high glare lighting up. Sorry, I haven't had a lot of sleep.
Give me a second, I can probably bring that up.
Yeah, it's worth looking. If you can bring it up quickly, I can get on YouTube. If y'all have 20 seconds, it takes 20 seconds. And at first, the police officer was arguing with me, and I finally had him go on our website and look at the disappearing pedestrian video. He's like, oh, now I get it. Because in that case, it was a drunk driver. I also found an article when I was researching that drunk drivers have twice the problem with glare because their pupils are dilated. So it looks bad to a non-drunk driver. Imagine what it looks like to a drunk driver. And I can also work on finding it.
Okay, I've got it. Can I share screen?
Yes, it's set up.
This is the single best visual.
Are you getting it, Steve? Can you make it bigger, Steve?
Steve, there should be a way to maybe refresh, and then you can go to YouTube from that link. And then on YouTube, it'll be full screen.
No, I can't get that.
Let me
Can you
see
do
if
it
I can get it directly on YouTube. Let's see.
There you go. Steve's got it.
Okay, great.
All right. Thank you.
I want to point out to y'all about that little video. That looks like she was walking in front of two bright LED lights. That was only one. The other glare that you saw was the glare from that one light off the window. So you really got a double whammy from one light bulb that just wiped out the vision of the person walking down the sidewalk.
Good point,
And
Jim.
actually, that person was my wife, Amelia.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to bring that up. Say hi to her for me, by the way, tonight.
That's a really powerful video. Thank you.
Yeah, that was taken at a outreach event. And Jim King says, "Hey, look at this," when somebody walks in front of that. So we recreated it with Amelia walking across those lights.
Yeah, it was real easy. I was out in the field with my telescope, and I saw somebody walking through there. I said, "Wait, this is important." And Steve came in and did the work on it, and it's been helpful.
So this is the kind of thing I keep sending it to Art Acevedo. A police department could use this and with just 20 seconds as part of their talks to audiences when they go to civic clubs, and that's all it would take.
Well, thanks, y'all.
I'd also.
I have one more question before we leave. It's been dark in the hill country for over an hour, and wherever Cliff is, it's still light. Cliff, where are you?
Where are you?
I'm in Durango, Colorado.
Okay.
And it's a globe at night. Go out and take a measurement before you go to bed.
I have one thing, Cindy.
Yeah.
Laura Gold and Chloe Crumley have done a great job lately. We've got West Texas Friends of the Night Sky up. We have our DBA post office box, Facebook page, and our domain name. And
Yay.
the website is being built. And most of this is on Laura's shoulder. She's done a great job. She also spoke to the Alpine City Council about updating verbiage in their lighting ordinance to make it more in line with current technology. She did a great job.
Congratulations, Laura. And West Texas, because they benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody.
Thanks, Janice. Couldn't have done it without you. And all you. Thank you.
Yes, and she was getting
We got a ways to go.
All right. Well, y'all take care. And dude, go out and take those globe at night readings. Everybody know what I'm talking about?
I do not. Can you?
Oh, you do not. All right. Let me tell you then. I will explain that. There is a citizen science program that is called Globe at Night. If you Google Globe at Night, you can take each month. There's a time period when the moon hadn't come up in this time of night, when you can go out and look at your sky and compare it to a picture on and I'll show you right on here. Let me get rid of let me see if I can get rid of my presentation. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the globe at night. See, Cliff, I had the night sky month stuff up to promo for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I put it on the chat. All right, so globe at night. We go to this website, and I usually just click to report. And you can do this on your phone too. So normally it will fill in the date and time if you're on a smartphone or computer, and it'll figure out where you are, and yeah, that's got me in the right spot, so I'll say yes. So then right now we're looking at Cygnus, which for where I live in Central Texas, it's pretty much right overhead right now. And I'm not an astronomer, so if any of you want to correct me, y'all go for it. So I'll look at that area, and then I'm going to click on each of these boxes, because I can find Vega and Demet, and I'm going to look and say, oh, my sky looks like, I wish, this one, but actually it looks like this one. So that's what I'm going to report. But if I was, say, in Austin, I'm betting that's all I might be able to see is those stars. So I'll click on the right one that matches my location, but I always go outside for about 10 minutes and let it go to dark and my eyes adjust first. And then I'll tell it what the sky conditions are. And I'll say if there's anything special, like, there's a lot of moisture in the air, it's a lot of haze, or it's particularly crisp. And I might say I'm in I'm in a city, or I'm in a relatively rural subdivision. I might say something about, where I am. And, oh, I'm sorry, that's location comments, where I am. Sky comments over here about haze or clouds. And then if you don't use a sky quality meter, which most people do not have, if you look in my, I got to get it at the right place there. I happen to have one that I could do, but you don't need it. All you can use your eyes, and you just skip that if you don't have one and submit your data. Voila. You will be added to this worldwide database, and it will track and quantify light pollution all around the world, which helps us, people studying it, to look at it. So it's a great little citizen science activity.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for explaining that.
You're welcome.
Cindy, I might add that if you're looking at these star charts off your smartphone, that it's going to shoot your night vision. So, you know, that's something to be mindful of if you're doing the naked eye limiting magnitude entry.
Right. So what I like to do is look at it inside before I go out and figure out what which constellation I'm supposed to be looking at and where it's going to be. And then I go outside and just hang out for like 8 or 10 minutes at least. And sometimes a little longer, because as I've gotten older, it takes my eyes a teeny bit longer to adjust. And, you know, I get used to the lack of light outside, and then I can read the sky. And you know, it's fun. You get somebody to go outside with you if you can, and hang out and say, oh, I can't see anything yet. Can you see anything? I don't know. Just have fun. Have
Thank
fun
you.
and take a reading. Take a reading. It's really important. There's a German scientist who is doing some very detailed studies of this, of you know, especially of you know, looking at the fact that we've got so many LEDs now, and he needs a lot more data points.
Cindy, you mentioned that this is a globe at night. Is this a periodic thing, or how do you know when to make an observation?
Well, it is. Thank you. Good question, Debbie. Let's see. If we go to observe, it lists all the dates. In the Northern Hemisphere, September 9th through 18th of 2020. And then we'll have it again from October 8th through 17th, November 7th through 16th, and December 6th through 15th. And then they'll post the ones for 2021. I personally, at the beginning of the year, go and put them on, mark it on my personal calendar. I mark, you know, this is the globe at night time frame, so that I'll remember, because, okay, I'm going to be 70 very shortly, and I forget. So I put it on my calendar. I put it on my calendar, and go out and do a reading or two during that time period. So the Globe at Night website has all sorts of good stuff, activity guides with it, but it's very easy. It also has, you know, can tell you, for instance, if I clicked on Cygnus, you know, it's going to show me, look, oh, Cygnus, look, it shows me where it is, you know, and I can look at it. So I can, even though I'm not an astronomer, I can figure out where Cygnus is with all the information they give you. So, such fun. And here
Awesome.
Yeah. So where are you located, Jennifer?
I'm in Houston with Debbie.
Debbie, good deal.
Yes, yeah. And I'm like in the city. So I'm just like 2 blocks outside of the loop. So
yeah. So, you know, sometimes you may want to go somewhere else and observe. That's fine too, because you know, you do that, and that's fun. But getting that report in the city is great for them, because they can, you know, and if you've got LED lights around you, or any sort of lights around you, then document that in the little box, and that's very helpful to the scientists.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm surrounded by 4 bars, and they're building another one next to me. So
oh my goodness. Okay, so here are, if this thing will show up, look, you've got those are readings that have been taken around the world. You see all those dots? All the little dots on the map? A lot of England. You know, there are people taking these observations all over the world. And let me see, has anybody been taking any in Houston? There's some close. I'm zeroing. Look, right there on the edge. Bam.
Wow.
Yep. Somebody's been taking one in Houston. You could look at their latitude and longitude and figure out where they were.
So cool.
Bring that up to
Debbie,
the club.
you've got. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Magnitude of 7.
Yeah. That's way down in Pasadena, east of Pasadena, down on the water somewhere.
You're not going to see anything that faint there, are you?
I wouldn't
No.
think so.
No.
Just checking.
And here's one. Yeah. Then, yeah, I have to admit that's probably me there. Yeah. So we need more. We need lots more all over Texas. We need lots more readings. And in fact, we may have a little bit about Globe at Night on next month's presentation, because that's the culminating activity for the educational program for the elementary kids that we'll be looking at next month. Will be to go out and take a Globe at Night reading.
That's awesome. And I joined IDA because I just have a particular interest in having minority children especially get more involved and see the night sky, because inner city kids don't get to see the night sky. So that's why I got involved. So I'm really interested in everyone who has worked with school-age children and what that kind of agenda looks like, the curriculum.
Yeah,
so that's what I do more of.
There'll be a curriculum and videos leading them through all the activities for elementary and for middle school. Those are being worked on right now.
Awesome. Okay, great. I'm excited.
Yeah. They're being presented at the Texas Master Naturalist state meeting next month. So I'm hoping we can have the same presentation for us after the presentation there that explains how to use them. So how to use it in your outreach.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, guys, this old lady's getting tired. It was nice seeing y'all.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love seeing all of y'all.
Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy.
Bye-bye.
That was a good meeting. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.